Let's build a few spreads in this new journal that I'm creating. We are going to begin by adding a side pocket. I really like the way that the yellow dress matches the paper with the script on it, so I think that's going to go great together. While I'm working on creating this pocket and deciding what I want to fit inside and all that good stuff, I want to tell you that this is my design team project for Rach and Bella Crafts for the month of February, and I am using her beautiful kit, Letters of Love. I have printed that kit out on the back side of scrapbook paper. To coordinate, I am also using a 6x6 scrapbook pack called Romance. I'm going to grab a piece of my coffee dyed paper. It was actually stationery that I found at the thrift store, and I coffee dyed some of it, and I'm going to see if this will fit in the pocket correctly. All right, I don't think this is going to work for me. I don't really love it. So let's go ahead and try some tags in there, or a tag in there, and see if that works better. We may come back a little bit later and add more. While I think about the right side, let's work on the left side a little bit. As you can see, the left and the right sides are very different. So to coordinate them and pull them together, I'm going to take a piece of scrap from that deep, rich yellow, sort of a mustardy yellow paper with the script on it, and I'm just going to put a strip of it down the edge of the other paper. That way it sort of pulls everything together. Now I'm ready to go ahead and embellish the right side a little bit. So I'm using a piece of lace. It's a very wide lace that I've cut to size, and on top of that I am putting some images of some roses that were part of the digital kit. I want to add a little something more to the left side, so I found this scrap with this nice shiny gold on it with a brown undertone, so I went ahead and I put that on top of the script paper. So it's a very simple embellishment, but it brings it out. It definitely draws attention to it. I was playing around a little bit with a piece of scrap paper just to see if I could bring some more interest to the right side, but that piece of paper, the colors really did not work. So ultimately, I've decided to make a miniature fabric flip. Instead of using fabric, I'm going to use one piece of scrapbook paper and a piece of lace. I'm going to finish that off with a little bit of detail, and I'm going to use gold ribbon to do so. This journal is actually going to go into a real book cover, and I am not going to increase the spine on the book. I want to use it exactly as is. So I've got to make sure when I'm embellishing, I keep everything really flat. Now I like the way that this spread has turned out. There's a lot of color, there's a lot of interest in detail, and I think it's done. So let's move on to the next. I think this is such a pretty spread already, and I haven't even gotten started. But I think what I'm going to do on the right hand side, we're going to go ahead and create an upper pocket. I've mentioned before that I like to make sure I do some pockets on the bottom, some on the top, some on the edges, just to spread the thickness around. If I do all the pockets on the bottom, then the bottom will be, sort of heavily weighted. So I try to be cognizant and make them sort of equal. I don't always get it right. I usually end up with more bottom pockets, but I definitely do try to make sure to include the other ones. This is the third video in this series. In the first one, I showed the kit, and I showed how I was working with some of the ephemera. And then in the second video, I showed the first 3 pages. So this is a continuation, and if you are interested in seeing the other videos, I will be sure to link those in my description box. So I wanted to mention that the ephemera in the kit is really pretty, and this heart is one of the pieces of ephemera. And I'm going to go ahead and use that as a tuck spot, and I'm going to put a tab on the bottom so that when I slide a tag in the little tuck spot under the heart, this tab will hold it in place so it won't slide out. I have a pretty pink lacy tag that I think is going to be absolutely perfect in this particular tuck spot. If you saw my previous videos, you might have seen how I created this antique, well, it's almost antique, it's vintage music paper, and the way that I protected it. So I decoupaged it, and then I added some tape to the edges, and I folded it in to create a pocket. So I've decided to go ahead and use this music paper here in this spot. So the spread has just changed. It's now going to have the roses and lace paper on the left, and then it's going to have the vintage music paper on the right. As I mentioned, I gutted a book in order to have available to use as the cover for this journal. And since I gutted the book, I've got all of its pages to use. So I'm going to use some of those pages to create tags. And so I glued about 3 of the pages together to create some thickness. And now I'm adding this faux postcard on here, which comes from the kit actually. And then once that dries a little bit, I'm going to tear it to size. I want to go ahead and look and see what I have that I can pop into the music paper pocket, and I think this tag is absolutely perfect. It just goes so well with it. Now, on the left side, these papers are dry. Remember, I glued about 3 pieces of book pages together, and then I added the postcard ephemera to it, and now we are just going to tear it to size, and I'm going to put it in the pocket on the left because I feel like that side needs something with a little more interest. All right, I like this. This is the first time I've made anything like this, but I think it's pretty cool. So let's pop it in there. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, I like that. I think it adds a lot of interest. So I think I want to make another one for the right side. We are going to use a piece of pink scrapbook paper because I think that that will coordinate very nicely. Again, I used 3 pieces of book page and then of course the scrapbook paper. I'm going to go ahead and add one of the flowers that comes in the kit that I fussy cut, and this pink one I just think is going to be really pretty. I'm inking the edges of it, and that will give it a nice little pop. I really like how this turned out. Isn't it pretty? I love it. So I'll definitely be making more of those in the future. So let's go ahead and pop both of these in to the pocket here and see how it looks. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm very, very happy with it. Friends, I want to tell you again, I really appreciate the time that you spent here with me. Thanks for watching. See you soon.